Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to a Cosmic Cuppa. This is my second Cosmic Cuppa for the year, but my first with a guest. So I'd like to welcome back Kathlene. How are you, Kathlene?
I'm doing very well.
Thank you. I'd like to read out Kathlene's bio to start with. I read it the first time, but some of you may not have heard. Kathlene says, I've always been enthralled with nature. The beauty astounds me. So it was no surprise when I became a landscaper from the east coast of the States of America to the Northwest, with Seattle's largest landscaping firm. One day, cut short by an accident, my opportunity for licensure was about to unfold. Kathlene has many powerful and psychic abilities. In 1994, she graduated with T-Touch Equine Massage training. Seattle Massage School at Greenlake provided more accredited hours, and she graduated in 1995 with an NBCMT. She is a certified natural force healing practitioner, which she graduated from in 1995, and also in passive biofeedback, Toftness scope 1995. She's also a certified reflexologist, certified healing touch therapist from the Colorado School of Massage, Lakewood, Colorado, and a medical intuitive. Kathlene attended the Asclepion School of Psychic Studies in 2012 and 2013 in San Rafael, California, and in June last year started in Ireland the Galactic Roundtable Council with a colleague, Brooke Richardson. So Kathlene, I have asked you how you are. What have you been doing recently? What's been happening for you?
I retired.
You've retired, which means you've opened a whole new chapter to start something new.
I retired from massage. I've been doing it for 29 years nonstop. Most people don't last nearly that long. I'm keeping, of course, the healing aspect and submerging myself into the healing aspect of natural force healing. I've not taught classes probably in 5 years for that. Keeping reflexology, starting a couple of other things over towards Kansas City on the Missouri side, working with the overlay of the dove, which is for the next 20 years of my life is what I will be doing.
Wow. So you've really got some schemes in place, haven't you?
Yeah, it's all divine plan.
Of course it is. That's what it's all about. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Would you be able to talk about your awareness of the many people that you had told me had made closure for 2012, and about your group where some friends helped with inner work to do extensions for 2013 and beyond? And what is that all about, please?
Most people are familiar with the Mayan calendar, and a lot of people just thought it was a bunch of hooey, but it's actually the closure of a certain status of time. And there are many all over the world who were associated with that closure of 2012. So our whole life, what we are attracted to or what you keep getting pulled to is an aspect of it. And I'll touch on that in a little bit. There's two in my group that are part of the propulsion through 2013 and beyond for the next clock mechanism. And I'm saying clock mechanism because that's what popped into my mind, because that Toth is actually in charge of that.
So can you expand a bit more on that, please, as to what this group is doing to work with that hypothesis or that doing?
So what I have them do first is their Mayan kin chart, which is basic. You just put in your birth date and it gives you your Mayan glyph. But there's a gentleman there on the South Island of New Zealand who takes it even further. And it's called the marrying and the merging of letters and numbers and words. And it gives you a frequency and vibration, and it'll tell you exactly what it is that you're doing and who you are and your gifts. So if you travel quite a bit, like I do, I'll submit to him, I'm doing this on this date. This is the ceremony, and he'll tell me what it is I'm retrieving for the group or myself. So I've been retrieving, like in Ireland, aspects of Christ DNA and aspects of humankind DNA at Mary Magdalene Tower, which is in Drogheda. My group, a lot of them specialize in music of the spheres. Music of the spheres are the planets. And every time everything moves, they make harmony, like angels singing. And so I also have some that are masters at numerology, numbers, remote viewers, travelers, because I travel, interdimensional and multidimensional travel. What my teams do is they will show me where I go by the continent, or they'll whisper it to me when I come back, because I'm always doing work all over the world. I think I was in New Zealand about 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, what was happening here? Do you remember? Apart from us beautiful souls being here, of course.
Of course. Two of my good friends, Jan and Tomas, are there in Christchurch, and I met with them, and we were doing some work up and down Christchurch.
Brilliant.
That's all I know right now for that aspect.
Beautiful. And Christchurch needs it. We've been so whammied. I am in Christchurch, as a lot of you know. We have been so whammied for many, many reasons. And plus the fact it's called Christchurch, I think also has a lot to do with it. And the way certain factions don't want that Christed energy here, but we are. And in New Zealand, we have a lot of very high vibe frequencies now, raising more and more, because this is the time for it to become stronger, and it's growing, as it is elsewhere. But New Zealand, I think, is a very special place within that framework.
Absolutely. So, I was called over there. I think I arrived in 13 or 14. No, because Janet Thomas went back home to Christchurch in 14. I didn't arrive until 17.
Okay. We'll talk a wee bit about that later, about New Zealand. Could you please tell us about your Muskogee Creek Indian name? You were given, and I'm not saying it correctly. You can correct me.
You are.
Am I?
Are. It was just really cute.
Oh, thank you. Didn't know it was cute.
Can you say it again?
During Muskogee Creek Indian?
Yes, Muskogee Creek Indian.
Muskogee.
That's on the Indian reservation in Oklahoma.
Yes. During a sweat lodge with a medicine man named Bearheart. And what that means for you, if you would like to tell us.
Okay. Being a part of the community in Manhattan, Kansas, it's Kansas State University, college town. Everybody knows everybody. And I was not going to do it because I thought there was too many people. There wound up being 12 doing the Vision Quest. And the Vision Quest is you go without food or water, no cover, for an extended period of time. And the weather was something else. And my experience was something else. I lasted 2.5 days. With a deer stomping at my head in the middle of the night, and you don't leave that circle. You stay in your circle for protection. And I can hear my other friends and people all over the hillsides over there in the Flint Hills is what it's called. And I got 2nd-degree sunburns. I learned to drink water out of the rocks because I wasn't leaving my circle. So I drank the water out of the limestone rocks. And I'm waiting patiently, and a day goes by, and I see 2 deer run by. And I thought, oh, cool, I'm done. 2 deer. No, one's an adult, one's a baby. So I still had to wait. And then 2 great herons fly over, which is very symbolic, but one was a baby. The other was the adult. So 2.5 days into it, and all of a sudden the 2 doves flew by, and I go, that's it. I can go back down the mountain and check in and go submerge in the pond since I was blistering. So I'm in the pond, submerged, and all of a sudden I felt something yank on my shorts when I'm in the pond, and it was a snapping turtle.
Wow.
I don't know if you know how big a snapping alligator turtle is, but they're
I have no
big.
idea. An alligator turtle. Wow.
Well, yeah, because of the pinchers. I waited for him to be ready, and everybody's sitting around to see what he's going to tell me as I tell him my whole 2.5 days. And as soon as I said, and the 2 doves flew over, his head pops up and he goes, I need a pencil, writing material. And he wrote it in his native tongue, my Indian name of Pachi Howi Wokulat. And I'm looking at him, and he translated, and I'm still looking at him, and all of my friends are looking at me because they knew I didn't like it. It took me a long time to like my name because I thought it was foo-foo-y. Why couldn't I be the screaming eagle that flew over my phone?
It was stomping bear.
Oh, thank goodness there were no bear that day. Or buffalo woman, because there are bison there.
Definitely.
And he pulled me aside days later, and he says, this is why, because you've worked on me. And he says, and the reason why it's Pachi Hobi Wakula is because when you work on people, it's like angel wings spreading over and cleaning everything off. It feels like wings. And I think it took me maybe 7 years to really feel it.
Wow. Well done. Also with the dove, it's like the Christed energy comes in the form of a dove. And so to be Christed, and you had 2 of them.
And from the book of Enoch, the book of knowledge, I have the dove on my chest. I have 2 doves on my chest tattooed. Beautiful. But it still leads to my purpose, my walk.
Yeah, of course.
With the work that I do.
Yes. What would you say? It may sound obvious, but it's a good question, I think. What, if I may ask, what is your purpose?
I have many jobs. I have many jobs. I did not have a teacher. My mentor is what I call her, just better to say mentor, in Seattle, Washington, made it a point to tell the receptionist that if I ever called, that I'm to come in immediately because I get beat up on a lot. I have many nicknames. One of them is Demon Slayer because I get rid of negatives. I had to learn everything. She said I was to call her no matter what until I'm strong enough to do this myself and to realize I can do this myself. I met Jeannie probably 1992. She was my healer at the time. So my jobs and my purpose, learning how to do everything on my own and to listen and be patient and to ask why, what does this mean? My first gift is intuitive. My second gift is prophecy, and then visionary and feeler, but I feel everything. So I thought it was flipped. But being an intuitive first, I hear when they give me my messages, or I just know the answer without explanation. But I had to walk that walk myself and figure it out. My best place to go is nature.
Yeah. Always brings us back to our center. Always.
Absolutely. Yes, I love the earth very, very much.
Yes, absolutely. It's so amazing on all levels. When you say you were beaten up, is that physically or in the astral?
No, yeah. Yeah, growing up as a child, I was harassed a lot by spirits because they knew how sensitive and who I am, and they would want attention to convey, or you would get the bad spirits that were up to no good. So my whole life, I was dealing with stuff, even out in nature. Spirits are everywhere. So I also had to learn how to send them back into the light and not assume that everything was mine when it wasn't. To get beat up on, yeah, I get jumped on quite a bit. And what I mean by that, even when working on my clients, when they're going through hardship, and to know when there's certain spirits around, because they all have a different thing that they do, I had to learn all of that myself.
That's a heavy load, particularly as a child. I would imagine that would have been quite a hard journey to go down to figure out what works, what doesn't, what to do, what not to do.
That's called go retrieve.
Pardon?
That's called go retrieve the shotgun. I know you guys
don't work weapons with a spirit.
Yeah, in the US it's different over here, but we were raised respectful around weapons. So I was not opposed to taking care of myself and retrieving the shotgun to go after them. Not knowing that wasn't going to do anything, but also showing that I wasn't afraid.
I think that's the biggest thing. Fear is the biggest killer, Kathlene, isn't it? The biggest killer of all is fear. And it's knowing to stand tall and that we are sovereign is, I think, what we're all learning more and more and more, because that's who we truly are.
It's we've had an increase. I'll throw this in there on that note. We've had a crystalline increase, and you'll feel the hum and the vibration of the pitch in your ears, where you have more light that's coming in, so your nervous system can deal with that. And so soon, either you're going to raise your hand and say, okay, I'll do it, and just hang tight, or you're going to go home. It's going to be one or the other. But this crystalline frequency was about 10 days ago when it really kicked in. And I have a feeling it has a lot to do with the sun.
I was just going to say, yeah, we've had huge CMEs about that time, and some still coming in big time.
Today, tomorrow, and the next day.
Interesting. Thank you for that. Fabulous. Would you like to talk about your natural force healing, the work that was brought to the earth in the 1990s, and the overlay of the dove, please?
Okay. Natural force healing is new to the earth. So there are healing modalities that each healing modality has its own etheric crystal inside of the body. So Reiki has a crystal, and when you become master or the levels, that is actually activated. And it stays activated if you keep doing the Reiki. Or like healing touch, that's going to have its own. Natural force healing has a crystal that's on the left temporal lobe. And so this one was designed specifically for these times that we're going through, for the purpose of your perfect self, your triune of well-being, body, mind, and spirit, and emotional. There are 2,000 angels that do this.
Wow.
And so they would practice on us via the phone from Seattle to Jersey or New York. And then they finally taught it. I took the first class in February of, oh my gosh, it's been so long. 2013, something like that. No, 1993. 1993. Because
Wow.
it took me 2 years to graduate. And in the first class to take it, in the first class to be certified. So what this work does, using applied kinesiology, which is muscle testing, and the Toftness scope that I have, which measures energy that emits from a pain spot in the body, which is called a hot spot, you have to go through and repair all that and remove it. There's a protocol associated to clear the individual first so that you can get an accurate reading. Then you look to see if they have any holes. And holes is so important because you start losing your vitality. We were born with a blue envelope, everybody. This blue envelope is 2 inches thick that keeps you protected from radiation. It is so important. If there are pinholes or rips and tears, you have to go in and repair that and refill it. Then it takes 2 days of not doing anything strenuous. Then I look to see if you had any low frequency electromagnetic disturbance. Mother Mary's in charge of that. Very simple hand placements, and we have a map. We're all born with the map. So I access your map and then go in and do the other hand placements to repair. So this is different from Reiki. Reiki, you use yourself. Natural force healing, it just comes through you. It is regulated, and it doesn't take more than 2 minutes per treatment. So you need a level 1. I'm scanning you right now. And a level 4. You need a level 5. Melanie needs a 5. Moving energy out is when I do that, when I pop my ear. So that's on your mental body. So a level 1, for instance, will clear out meningeal distortion in the center of your spine. All memories are stored in the center of the spine. A level 4, which there are 4 energies, core 4, will bring you into perfect balance and harmony with a triangle that you have from your sternum to the top of your crown. And it's supposed to oscillate and move. It's 8-sided. And you'll actually feel distortion movement because I know you're sensitive enough. I'll go ahead and do it on you. You know I am. I'll do yours too, Melanie. All I have to do is ask. They know it's practice mode, but you actually need it. So core 4, I can feel the energies ignite as soon as I go into hand placement of core 4. That's core 4. So my fingertips are getting pretty hot. What they will do is balance you out. If you need something,
I'm feeling it already.
I know. If you need something more detailed, I would switch it to advanced for facial mapping for your brain. Feels pretty good.
Thank you.
So they're going to regulate how much you get, so it can never be abused or misused. If you do not need it, it's not coming through.
Yeah.
So the will or ego of an individual, it's not happening. For level 5 for Melanie, it balances the hemispheres of the brain so that they're perfectly balanced and harmonized, and you'll be 95% smarter for a short period of time. Don't get too, she fell off her chair. My goodness. Am I allowed? May I? Okay. You know the okay symbol. So do it with both hands. There you go. Do you feel the energy? Yeah, especially on that right one on me. So what happens is you're going to do this and cover your eyes. And so the okay circles are going to encompass your temporal lobes. Yep. That feels good. It also revitalizes all of your chakras. Keeps you from being too much left or right brain. She says, give me more. It's done. More. So you can test it every day, core 4 or a level 5. If you don't need it, they won't give it to you. The natural force healing, Jeannie recommended that I take the class because she knew that I would be really good. And I was. After graduating from that program and massage school, my truck with my dog was ready to hit the road. And started to practice from the ground up in October of, gosh, my dates are going bye-bye, 1995. And I just retired on December 8th from massage.
I think there comes a time with massage. I used to do therapeutic massage too, and now I choose to do more high mind modalities. Not to say that there's nothing, I think massage is wonderful, but I use the high mind healing methods now. Really interesting. Did you want to do something for Talina while she's here, or is she all okay?
She's been taking tons of notes. Are you cleaning, scraping the floor? Crack me up. All right.
Oh, this is so lovely.
It's frontal lobe on you, right across there. Cranial. Okay. Kind of wispy in the throat. Yeah. Yeah, it's wispy though, but it goes out your right ear. It's kind of a strange exit. And your nasal passage on the right. Liver is detoxing something. Let's see if I recognize that taste. But it makes my lips go numb. So your biochemistry is off just a tad. What kind of chemicals are you using chemicals for the floor? Can she hear me?
Yes, but she may not be able to answer you. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah, no chemicals, just scraping
Okay.
paste.
Okay.
It's just slow and laborious. I can only do a little bit every now and then, and it's, yeah. just sit and tinker, really. But yes, I do have a problem with my throat. I damaged my voice over a year ago. And I probably am detoxing. I've just come off a 17-day fast and am now just eating meat.
Lamb?
Lamb and
That's my
beans.
favorite. Yeah, it's my favorite. It's good
Yeah.
for you. Biochemistry. So I'll do an advanced core 4 for you for biochemistry. So lips symbolize biochemistry, and they were starting to vibrate and buzz. And my tongue was a little different. So detox. I can tell you every single medication and metals because they all have a certain taste to them. There you go. It's coming in. Definitely cranial. You feel that?
Starting to go a bit lightheaded.
Yeah, let's move that off. You're the one that I keep popping my ears. I can't walk away from helping humanity because that's my other purpose. We'll send you some more. Your neck doesn't like what you're doing.
No. No.
That's okay. We'll keep working on you. I'll write your name down if that's okay with you and check on you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
cool
you,
thing with
Kathlene.
Absolutely. The cool thing with natural force healing, with me also being, we're all empathic and feelers in certain ways. I had to learn the cues of when a client would come in and working with my team and their team. And so I would just scan them and ask them, of course, what do you want to focus on today? But I'm looking elsewhere because I'm waiting for my cue. My cue is I'll feel it in my body on where the problem is, even though they're telling me something else. So priority is if I feel it on my body, because my guides, my healers are telling me go there first, and then we'll go after that. They heal much quicker because a lot of times people are run around to not look at what truly is going on. That way you don't heal. So for natural force healing, there are points all over your body that will be sore and nobody can figure it out because it's natural force healing work. Love to teach it again. That's a 2-day class. It's so much fun. Yeah, off and running in 1995. Now I'm switching gears for that overlay of the dove, but still to continue with natural force healing because it's vital for what everybody is going through for their ascension. And the ascension is our soul is coming into this physical body. So we have to make room. So if I'm working on, in the beginning, working on the Kansas people, it was always showing up body and mind, body and mind. And then all of a sudden, mind and body, because they were working on the density of humanness. if you're truly working on yourself, you're going to have more of the spiritual angle show up. And then I know when they've graduated, because spirit, body, they've made room, and now spirit can come in more. When you keep working on yourself, you'll have a core density show up, which is your true soul of who you truly are. And you will only receive that when you've truly been loyal to yourself, working on yourself. I like to play with my clients. Have you noticed that yet?
This is fascinating, Kathlene. And I will have to tell everyone that Kathlene has been to New Zealand several times, and twice I have had sessions of natural force healing with her, physically on her table, and both times have been amazing with how it made me feel afterwards and the difference that it made. So I can speak firsthand with having that done on me physically. Not to say it has to be, but thank you, Kathlene, for that, because that was incredible. Just to change tack a wee bit now, or is there more you want to talk about with that?
Just a smidge. High fives to New Zealanders. This is what I noticed. I think I worked on you more than twice. I've been there 5 or 6 times. And what I noticed, it was only taking New Zealanders 18 to 22 minutes to have a session. Over here, it takes 1 hour and 15 to 1 hour and a half for a session. What I noticed with you guys is you were receiving the higher levels of work. You weren't going through that body, mind stuff. It was higher levels of work. You guys are fast tracking. And I think I made that mention that look at the quality of food, water, and air and ocean that you have.
Yeah. And of course, we have our cosmic cuppas while we're here. I hope everyone's sipping away at their cosmic cuppa.
Little water.
Absolutely. This is a fascinating topic. Kathlene, I wonder if you would like to talk about Sedona. So it's crystal activation in the States for grounding and the effects on the body of humanity, especially the first chakra, the connection with 256 hertz for healing, so it's crystal grounding, and the crystalline structure being the Trinity or 3. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but Kathlene knows what I'm talking about, and she's going to explain it. So she's rolling up her sleeves all ready to get stuck in.
All right. How about Toth's crystal, the first one?
Sure.
Okay. That happened, what, 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Maybe I should backtrack just a bit. Nobody's asked me who I am yet. Okay, I'll tell you. Jude has been so sweet because I'm really nervous about it because people are like, yeah, right. When I have a soul portrait painted maybe 3 years ago, it's called the Master from Lemuria. So the Master Healer, that's me. But it goes further. Oof, chills.
Well, just had a jolt as well.
Yep. There's more to it. I learned more going through that gentleman up there. He's up in Nelson on your island. Was amazing. I've only known him for a year, but he went through such detail with my numerology of everything. And it came out and he got excited and he says, Well, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you were Toth. And he was very excited. And then he gave all the other names. The true name is Toftness Zerud. That's not written anywhere. In Greek, it's going to be Dehudi. I don't sign my name Toth. I had to get acclimated and accept it, because then I learned more later about my bloodline and the soul groups from the galaxies and the star systems. So Toth's soul group is big. It goes back to the beginning. Don't ever believe everything or anything that you read, because there's so much opinions out there. You will always know the truth if you ask, does this information hold the light of Christ? That's how you get your truth. My bloodline is of the Christ bloodline. I'm having a hot flash now. So
So good.
it was a big step for me to go to Ireland, just out of the blue to go. And Jude Satori was actually going to be teaching over there. I could only get into one class, and she was slammed. And I thought, I'm not a starseed, and that's the only class I can get into. So, but I did do sacred tours. I realized that everybody's gone. All the classes are booked. Nobody's around. 4 hotels slammed with participants. And I have free reign of Drogheda, Ireland. And then I realized why, because of all of the stargates and all the exploring I had to do. And I let this gentleman, his name is Neil, up in Nelson, where I was going, and he would run everything on it and said, this is what's here. I was retrieving the DNA for humankind at Magdalene Tower, which had to be cleaned. It was a mess. And it's like a giant tuning fork is what it looks like, that old tower. And 3 of us did some work on it. A woman from Toronto, Canada, and then Elma from the Netherlands. We did work on the tower. That was to help the bloodline of humankind. The beaches, retrieving DNA of Christ. Going to Tara was an origin for Toth. And that was in the belly. It was very interesting. I had to go to activate and claim and reclaim. Knowing all of this, I refuse to claim the Christ identity. And I'm putting it out there, I keep saying I was Apollonius, because he was walking the same time as Christ, doing the same thing. But I went to the Roman Catholic Church. They were having a special mass. I wore this certain shirt, and I'll be darned if the letters on it didn't come out to be the meaning of First Church. I go, can't get away from it. But it also meant Inky. Yeah, Anunnaki. There's good and there's not good. We all know that. So I'm a twin also. And I said, well, hold on, time out. How can I do all that stuff? Because it's not all at the same time. So I'm Inky's twin. I'll let you guys do the homework on that. And then to be Toth. And then to have the bloodline of the Christed. That's my bloodline. Now, Janet Tomas said something to me. She's over in Christchurch, because I had to find out for myself. She said, these 2 books, you can have them. This is your background. This is your bloodline. There's info in here for you. Holy Grail, Bloody Grail. That's one of them. And so I had to accept all of these aspects. And trust me, I ask all the time, that's a lot. Can I just go home? No. No. So for me to, it's always important to have fun and to cleanse. For me to cleanse is the mountains and especially the ocean. But I was told, I was in Florida October till the first week of November, and this is my first winter in Kansas for 4 winters. But I'm doing okay, even though today it's 32. That's Fahrenheit. Or it can be 27 below zero or 40 below zero. But I was told I have to be here for the overlay of the dove because it's happening. The crystal that was placed is the grounding crystal for humanity, and it's placed in northern Alabama. If you guys look on your maps, just the northern part. That's for the grounding aspect. That's the first one from Toth. And what that deals with is the first chakra, of course, your hips, your knees, your feet, your ankles, because that's all of the physical aspect. Third chakra is not spiritual, and it's not in that aspect of that first crystal.
Is that crystal resonating at 256 hertz?
There are 2 hertz. That first hertz that you said is actually the better frequency for healing. What a lot of holistic healthcare uses is the other one instead of the 256, I believe it was. I've had so many numbers run through me because I'll dream them and then I'll wake up and I'll write stuff down so I can send it to him. But that hertz is the best hertz for healing. And it has to do also with the Gregorian chant from the monks.
I love those chants. Absolutely love them.
It's calmed down a lot over here. Where I live is the Wild Wild West still. Where I live or where the portals are, that's been fought over forever. Where I live, I didn't tell you this part, is the Galactic Golden Stargate. And that's in my backyard. And I'll say the backyard. I'm not going to say the place. I'll share that with you later. But I live in Junction City, Kansas. So you guys just pull out your maps. When I say my backyard is north. Don't pull it up on Google. It's military. Don't do it.
That's probably why they're there, Kathlene.
Yes, since in and out since 65. And I've always tried to leave, but I'm pulled back. So I have 4 months to do what I need to do for the overlay of the dove. That has to do with the Galactic Golden Stargate.
So can you talk about that, please, so we're more familiar with what you're meaning?
Okay. If I told you Yellowstone, you know Yellowstone?
Yeah.
Okay. Old Faithful.
Yes.
That is another Golden Galactic Stargate, is Yellowstone. There's 2. So one of my students is working with that one. I'm working with this one. So I just have to be patient and wait. But it actually started kicking into gear. If you guys check last month, December 20th, and to see what was going on. You're December 20th and 21st. Because time stopped. Again, it stops a lot to fix things, to change things, to bend. That's Toth.
Let's talk about time bending, because that was on the solstice at that time.
Interesting.
Yes. So can you talk about that, please, in relation to time bending?
It happens a lot with me, but the way they get my attention, besides observation, is there is one clock in this building that stops. Just one clock. And everybody fixes it, and then they tell me to fix it, and then I say, forget it, just leave it alone. And then I started paying attention to go, oh, well, let's watch the people and see how they're acting. Sure enough, it's like they're walking around between worlds. Not airy-fairy, still conscious, but knowing something is different.
Is that like time jumping or parallel stuff happening there?
No, parallel.
What is happening?
So time jumping, if you throw white light into a situation, especially when you're driving, you'll speed up time. So if I wanted to hurry up and get home on a 15-hour drive and not be bored, I will speed up time by throwing in white light. And then it goes just like that. Can't explain it unless I sit down and say, okay, I'm ready. Just download me and tell me everything of what I really do. Right now, I'm still acclimating, increasing my vibratory rate. Like I said earlier, the crystalline. And I watch my clients and quiz them, and I can tell when they're humming. Then I'll ask them and say, oh, yeah, it started on that date. And they go, well, yes. People
Fascinating.
forget.
Yeah.
They need to ask questions about why. Just ask why, and you'll get your answer. Parallel, well, let's see, I travel when I sleep. So parallel lives happening simultaneously. I think we're repairing something from the future, and that's what I tried to tell you last year, August, I believe it was. 652 years ago in the future, something happened. So a lot of us are here now. My people that are at the Galactic Roundtable, anybody that becomes a part of Galactic Roundtable are actually from the initiate mystery schools of Toth in Egypt. They're not initiates anymore. They're the best of the best.
It's interesting. There was a pharaoh called Tutmosis. Yeah. Was that? I call him Thoth, but you call him Toth?
Yeah, I don't like because it sounds like sloth. So I'll say Toth.
Yes.
And the majority of the time, if people's attunement or awakening is not up, they never understand what I'm saying. They never hear me because my frequency is higher.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
He got around actually, didn't he? Because he was called Hermes in Greece.
Hermes.
Trismegistus, I may not be saying that quite right, means thrice born.
Thrice great.
Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl.
Thank you. I need to get more than a dictionary.
That's the part that's coming up, actually. My counterpart was supposed to be doing it. Counterpart that lives over here in the States. She's busy.
Could we talk about, please, being at 0 point now? and ready to activate the golden stargates that you've been talking about from the
Mhm.
relevance of the huge CMEs from the sun. So talking about 0 point and ready to activate, what will happen and what does that mean?
Okay. It's perfect synchronization. It's anything and everything. So I'll go back to Seattle from a dream I had when I first met my mentor, Jeannie. I woke up to a noise in my head, and it was an alarm going off, an alarm clock. And it was all zeros going straight across. It was the digital one. So it's happened again 3 weeks ago or so, where everything's gone down to zero again. So I've gone full circle to 0 point. It is now time. So when you get back to perfect synchronization, I had to be balanced with everything. 0 point is the beginning of everything. I'm going to start channeling more than likely, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please do. I'd be very grateful, and so would my lovely guests.
I'll try not to joke then. All right. It was an image I saw in my head, so it was actually Toph doing this. I'm waiting to see who wants to come in, because I didn't tell you about the third one yet. She's just sitting back in the wings. I'm going to have to say that it was Yeshua first for me. But I studied anything mythology my whole life, since I was 9. But I remember the dream I had of the baboon. That's another symbol of Thoth. And I'm crazy for birds. So thrice for Trismegistus is thrice great. So he evolved. I'm in 0 point where I'm full circle. I have my 3 circles. I also have my 3 doves. 3 is important. 3 is. People get hooked on Tesla with 369. It's actually 3. That's important. 3 times. All right. Growing up, I knew certain things. And me being a thinker and a Libra, it would take me a while because I watch everything. And I was quiet, pretty laid back. Finally, I approached my mother and said, Mom, what religion are we? She says, well, we don't go to any religion. So I hear stories because one side is Irish, and it was forbidden. It was forbidden because they were fighting, of course, Protestants in the Roman Catholic Church. I said, but Mom, I wasn't baptized, was I? She wouldn't look at me. She said, no. I said, huh. So I made 3 attempts to be baptized on my own, and it always fell through. Always. So that's 3 times I tried. And what I hear is because they're not the ones to do this. Who is it that baptized everybody to begin with? I would be looking at John the Baptist to walk in to do what needs to be done. But do I need to be? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I would have individuals thinking that I was doing black magic with my healing work and all my Native American stuff and say it was from the devil. send the preachers' wives in to corner me and quiz me. And I would always hear my guidance say, just be calm, be who you are as a divine soul, everything's good. And they would try to berate me or belittle me or try to save me. And I'm calm. And do you know Jesus Christ? And I go, well, yes, he is my brother. And then they'll leave me alone because they don't know how to react. So fear and not having all of the truth has been taught to humanity to keep them subservient. Not too much longer, and everything will be exposed. As for 3 times and the overlay of the dove, it is the activation, and it's only over North America. The beak goes down to Galapagos. And then you have some spreading over the Bahamas. So for years, I grew up in Florida when it was still a swamp. I've been doing work my whole life around Florida and the Keys. And a lot of things are going to be shifted. Things are being activated. There are sites that are shaped like Giza. There's 12 power points all over the world. And I've lived on 2 of them here in the US. Been close to 2 others. And number 13 was put into place after a Fukushima meltdown. Do you remember when that happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
Year, I packed up my vehicle and my roommate and I said, we have to go that way. And she's freaking out. And I go, we have to go that way to the California coast. I said, I have things to do. And we did work, sacred geometry. So I do the grid overlay of North America. There's still aspects of it that needs to be repaired. Did you just see that come in my room?
No,
You didn't see that?
no.
So the overlay of the dove, in the very center of that, the heart of the dove is actually a diamond shape. And it's really big. It goes from my border of Colorado, Kansas, all the way over past Kansas City into Liberty, Missouri, then all the way down to Houston, then all the way up to Minneapolis. That's how big the heart is. I'm going back and forth to Liberty and working with a shaman who's been working with me to work on this aspect for humanity. As for details, all I know is I have to be and go. And there are 2.5 months to go for this work.
Do you see this happening as a charging up to reset or to bring in a new paradigm from where we've been the last 25,000 years? Is this what this is leading to?
That's a good question. And then I would put another question on that. Why only North America?
It's a very good question. I have heard that the major war, which is a spiritual war, will be fought in America.
It's in my backyard.
Whether that's the answer, I don't know.
It's in my backyard.
It's an interesting hypothesis.
I can actually tell when it's happening.
So is this a winding up that you're doing, or is it to set the stage for the new? Or is it none of those?
No, I think I can give you a good answer. Let me see on what they're going to give me for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can implore, and you can use what's called query, Query. There is a karmic board. You just need to learn the dialogue. This is something I learned on my own in the beginning. When you talk to your master team, say, this is what's going on. What can we do about it? And that's how I begin with mine. One thing I learned with Toth is the one that goes to all the gods, goes to all the higher ups, is the in-between for all of this, and also the engineer. Not the mastermind, but the engineer. But I have to go straight to Supreme Being. And I'll have my discussions. And why? Why is this happening? Can we not stop the corruption in the churches? And then it started happening. I go, that's how it begins. You have to have the right dialogue. And you come from your master angels, your higher self, all of your ascended masters, and say, we need to have a talk. Can't we do something about this? Yes, you can. If you fight and argue, you gave your power away, and then you get hooked, and it's an endless cycle. If you talk with energy, like the golden figure 8, that's how we speak, is with, that golden figure 8.
Yeah.
It changes everything. Go straight absolutely. To Supreme Being. I have a few things. I have a short list because I know there's a lot to do on taking it to Creator, Supreme Being. As for what's going on with the stargates, I know it's coming soon. Not everything is ready.
So what is going to be happening with these stargates? Are they going to open and allow beings in, or for another purpose?
You can ask him yourself. She's asked me 3 different ways. Jude wants to know. I'm serious, I'm writing it down.
Thank you.
Know about the golden. Oh, energy shifted. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys can hear the pitch. 2 different pitches going on in your ears.
No.
Okay. When I first came back in 95, because I've been in and out since 65, I would walk the Kanza. The Kanza is the prairie. On the other side is where all the buffalo are. But I never stay on the trail because that's no fun. You go off trail, you find all kinds of goodies from the old days. And then you get to see the bison. So I'm hot to trot, and I notice something and I'm going for it because I know it's not good, but I'm going for it. And I'm upset, and I have to get to it, and it's quite a ways. And I stand in the middle of it, and I'm doing protocol because I know it's being abused. It was a vortex. So on the Kanza prairie, it's outside of Manhattan, Kansas, there were 2 up there that were being abused for interdimensional travel. Now, the government knew this, but the only way that they knew it is because they sent in the NASA spy plane. It's a weather plane, because they're trying to figure out, they fly so high, where this wind comes out of nowhere. That's a vortex. And I had two acquaintances overhear the conversation in the middle of the night. So when the creators of natural force healing came to teach the first class over here, it came up. So they had it capped and filtered, which can be done if it's being abused. You have to do protocol. And if you guys are interested, I'll send it to Jude. She can send out protocol. Then you ask specifically to cap and filter it if it's a vortex. Are you guys still on the planet?
Of course. We're listening intently.
Like in 2008, I was told I was going to teach, and I got very excited and asked him why. I may have already told you this story about the tornadoes. The only times, plural, tornadoes have marched through this town is the 2 times I've lived here. Go figure. 1966 and 2008, go figure. Typically what I would do if I'm over here working, I'd be finished with all my clients and tell my roommates, you know, I'm going home. You guys can deal with this. But I would get chased by that energy because I'm supposed to be dealing with it. I've always been lucky. So I'm here. I'm told I'm going to teach. Finally, the day is coming. What am I going to teach? We're going to teach you how to dissipate tornadoes. And I go, I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. No, I don't. And this goes back and forth. I'm arguing. Yes, you do. And I said, well, you better give it to me and don't embarrass me. So I write it out, teach the class to 10 people. 4 days later, here it comes. And I tell my students, you have to do this. I'm not going to do it for you. You have to do this. And they waited till the last second and bounced it all over the place. And they still talk about the crazy tornado. It jumped over one guy's house, literally.
Wow.
And it's still coming. One girl slept through it. She got lucky. It clipped her apartment. Still coming. I go, oh, I guess I have to go do it. So I stood in it and faced it and did protocol. The hair standing up on my neck. And I go, okay, I'm done. Went back inside. It was gone.
Wow. So you weren't like Dorothy and got taken up away in one?
No. And my dog's not named Toto.
We would be very grateful for that protocol, Kathlene. That would be interesting. Thank you.
The tornado one is also good because it deals with atmospheric and stratospheric negative conditions. I'll send that too.
Does it work with chemtrails, Kathlene?
I was just looking at that in my head. So stratosphere is what, 27 miles up. So why not? This is about being creative because anything and everything is possible.
Melanie's just put a wee sign up. We're supposed to be getting a cyclone in a week or so.
Coming from Australia? What side? Coming from Australia?
Not sure.
That's early, isn't it?
About the 4th, I think, was around about the 4th, 5th. We're expecting big storms and cyclonic weather, which is going to be around Auckland area, most devastating.
That's what I'm seeing. So my first trip over, we flew into Brisbane and then backtracked. And as we were leaving, could have been Sydney, as we were leaving, it was right behind us. And so Auckland got wiped. I remember that. And my friend asked me, she says, aren't you guys going to go toward the North Island? And I just gave her a look. And she's watching me. And then she saw what happened. She goes, oh, I remember that very clearly. So why not?
Most of our weather comes from our west, from Australia. Most of our weather patterning, not to say all
That's
of
great.
it, but most of it.
That's where I'm looking. Okay. I'll send it to you tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Would you like to talk about the first god that you have said, Anu? G-O-D. Now, this is what I love. Kathlene told
G-O-D?
me this is an anagram for her that says geometric, omnipotent, divinity. G-O-D.
Yeah.
Don't you love it? And Operation Pegasus. I'd be interested to hear about, Kathlene.
We're still working on Operation Pegasus. It's been coming up a lot. Pegasus has always been with me. I need to send you that photo that was taken up there in Christchurch 5 years ago, perhaps. And Pegasus is in the sky.
Beautiful.
Literally, it's really awesome. We're still working on Operation Pegasus, and it has to do with mind control of how people manipulate using mind control. Military does it a lot.
Yeah.
So we're still putting that together.
Beautiful. Is this to counteract or neutralize? What would your supposed
Okay.
process be with that?
So everybody has keys, so many different types of keys that we hold for others. We also have codes that we hold for others. That way it cannot be manipulated or taken. So we'll have so many different people, and I see this a lot in the Galactic Roundtable, holds the codes for others, an aspect, or holds the key, because we have toolboxes on an earthly level, and then we'll have our galactic toolbox. It's like our tool belts. So we might hold secrets that these individuals need in order to break a code for understanding. So we'll get together, figure things out. Still working on deactivating COVID. Do you have your pen?
Yeah.
All right. See if I can spell it correctly. Paraclesus, I believe.
Parasocius?
Something like that. Paraclesus is the father of
Oh, it's an L in
toxicology.
there.
The father of
Paracletus.
toxicology. He was a Dutchman, but that wasn't his real name. He changed his name. And he's the one, it's like being a microbiologist. So I was Paraclesus also, which falls into the realm of Toth. So when things are pertinent, I return. This time I have a multitude of them awakening within me to utilize all of those aspects. If you utilize all of your divinity from past lives and what you were created with to this moment now, just remember that you're profound. You can do anything. Geometric, omnipotent divinity is sacred geometry.
Love that. Absolutely love that. And I love that the anagram you've given, GOD, geometric, omnipotent divinity. I absolutely love it. Can I ask what you see happening in this year, 2024? And if you could talk about the voice prophetic, please.
The voice? What voice? Prophetic?
You talked about the voice prophetic.
You'll have to remind me.
Oh, it was something we spoke about when we were talking last. If that's not ringing a bell, don't worry.
we'll see if
Prophetic,
it
maybe
comes-
prophetically speaking is what was being referred there. But what do you see happening this year for us, Kathlene?
I will be on the beach. Probably in April. Doing my walkabout. It needs to happen. Doing my research. There's places I need to go. When I was looking into Yellowstone, New Zealand actually showed up. And so did Australia. You guys have Yellowstones. And they are hot springs. I go, okay, that goes on my list. Besides Uluru, one of my master helpers is Aboriginal shaman from Darwin. And I need to reconnect to my ancestors, as well as my Maori. I do have Polynesian blood. And I've had many lifetimes in New Zealand, and even before, it was New Zealand.
Absolutely. I see you very much aligned with power, the colours of the power. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but the beautiful shell we have here.
Yeah, I just went into a trance mode. I love the Pava shell. Yeah, to return, because I haven't been there in 4 years, has it been?
Mm. So what's going to be happening for you here on the inner?
In New Zealand,
Yes.
I have not completed that southwest corner yet. So it'll be Milford from Haas down to Invercargill.
Yes. Well done.
I have that, and that's it.
Beautiful. That triangulation. That'd be interesting. That's your three points of a triangle.
Mhm.
Interesting. And Australia? What are you going to be doing in Australia apart from hooking up with your shaman friend?
He's from the past. He's actually he mastered being a shaman, Aboriginal. So he has passed, but he is with me now. I'm going to Darwin as far as I know, but it looks like a triangle formation again, if I do that in my head. From Yellowstone to Darwin, Uluru, and then back over.
Nice. Well, we'd really look forward to seeing you when you come over, that's for sure. You also mentioned to me Tahiti. So are you doing something special in Tahiti as well?
Yes, I will not be ready in February. So she goes again in April.
Who are you talking about when you say she?
Carmen Figueroa is a psychic teacher who was with the Psychic Institute at Berkeley, California, back in the 80s. Really nice programs for women. Phenomenal. Do you guys want the website?
Yes, please.
Or no? Okay. www.spiritiscalling.
Thank you.
.com.
Spirit is calling.
.com.
Thank you. We can look at that. That's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody that's in that program are phenomenal. So she understands about the Asclepion school, the Harry Potter school that I went to in San Francisco.
Wow, that sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, sure. So psychics are interesting. We all know that. Just like the Harry Potter school, look at it that way.
Yeah,
Hint, hint.
fun.
So she knows the individuals that started the programs. And I went there to understand more of myself and to see what I had that was in my space. And I was sent there because I had a run-in with fallen angels from eons ago who still had not healed and who wanted stuff, who thought that they could just take vital energy.
Yeah.
Right. So they tried to take me out. That's how I got my start at Asclepion. And Asclepius is the god of healing, the Greek god of healing. That's the name of the program. Carmen is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
So you're
So
catching up with her again in Tahiti.
I already told her I wanted to go to hold me a space, and that is to swim with the whales.
Whoa. That'll be fantastic.
Well, you know I want to swim with orcas, but you guys think I'm crazy.
I never think you're crazy, my love.
If it happens, it happens, right? So,
Yeah.
Morea, Tahiti is the female aspect for Earth.
Are you going to Moorea?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That's a very special place.
And Egypt, Giza, is the male aspect of Earth. So I'm going to the female aspect of Earth.
Yes, of course. And it's shaped like a heart as well.
I don't know.
Yeah. The island Moorea is shaped like a heart.
Hmm.
It's beautiful. Mm. Do you have any channeling, if it's appropriate to ask, for our beautiful guests here today and those that will watch? Is there anything that would be important for us to know at this time?
Hmm. Memory of 1993, to have a short reading done with a phenomenal woman who used to work for Boeing Corporation, but in the basement of Boeing, where all the private stuff is. She was a friend. They did a session with me, and emotions were starting to come in. And back then, you were not going to get a tear rolling out of my eye. It was impossible. So I was biting my lip, and I couldn't hold it back anymore. And they stopped, and they go, "What is going on?" Then all of a sudden, she was channeling Yeshua to talk to me. Her voice changed. I still have the tape. Her voice changed and says, "Now, dear one, don't you remember when you said you wanted to come here and do it yourself?" But he's always been with me. And when Mary comes around, I do smell the roses. She was there too. And it was a reminder, like, who in their right mind's going to say, "Yeah, I'll come do it myself"? But in actuality, we get help along the way. And you would not be here if you were not the best of the best. There is no mistake. Connecting with nature, connecting with the winged ones. The winged ones are the messengers. That means thrice great. The winged creatures, that is Quetzalcoatl. Dragons, you have so many dragons over there, it's not even funny. They did not show themselves to me until Linda and I did that walk. Taylor's mistake. And it was low tide, and they were showing themselves. The winged creatures again. I am going into trance, but let's see what comes up. What question do you have for me?
What is the most important things to be talking about at the moment for this year, 2024, the year of the wood dragon? And
That's right.
yes, and particularly for New Zealand, if that is possible.
Did you know that each and every one of you has your own dragon? It's an earth dragon. Yes.
Oh,
I think it says a lot about us, in particular, about a personality of a dragon. Energetically. It's not like you're going to go out there and tame a dragon, but the guardians are there all around your island. They're in the rocks. It's almost like time or parallel universes stood still and they were frozen there and stayed there and held the island. Too many coincidences of energies of rock. Even the Cherokee Nation talks about it, the energies of the stones and what that truly holds. All they want to do is wait for you to say hello. And once you say hello, then giddy up.
that's great. We talk about the stone people here from the ancient teachings and how a lot of the old ones that walked the earth here would speak to the stones that would show them the way, particularly on the greenstone trails going back. The marker stones they would speak to find their way forward. So yeah, it's definitely consciousness and everything, and particularly in stone. So are you saying that some of the dragons are within the stones as well? Is that what you mean?
As long as Linda, because she's from Tauranga North, as long as she's been on the South Island, she never noticed them until her and I went on that walk. And so the dragons have always been there. We're just now awakening to it. Go to Sumner Beach. Why? And I wasn't jet lagged. I had to go to Sumner Beach first. That's the belly of the dragon.
Oh.
Yeah, the cave. Hello. So the rock formations out there, look at the backside. All the spikes from the dragon. It's all over the beach.
Fascinating. I was in that cave probably about a couple of months ago now, and I did ceremony there. That was with cave. It's called Cave Rock. Well, in modern times. Yeah. Interesting. Fascinating. Interesting that we all have our own dragon. I didn't know that. So is there anything else you'd like to discuss before we open it up to questions, Kathlene?
You mentioned Quetzalcoatl, so you've done a little bit of homework.
Well, that's ancient knowledge for me, to be fair. But thank you.
Ancient knowledge, that's interesting. So that's the plan, is the return of Quetzalcoatl, which again is in the feathered tribe and with the dragons.
And I'm seeing the Ouroboros. It's almost like the dragon connecting round to the tail. The circle. So it's like completing the circle.
I've completed my 3 circles, and I have my 3 doves. I learned that my grandmother was a holder of the 3 doves also. So, give me your best shot, ladies.
Okay, guys, if you would like to ask a question, I'll just put my view back onto gallery. If you would like to put your hand up and we can ask Kathlene some questions if you have any. Thank you, Melanie. If you unmute yourself and you can ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathlene. I don't know if I've got a question, but when you speak about the dragons in New Zealand and the rock, that resonates really deeply with me. I just feel very drawn to particularly the rocks around New Zealand. And I'm not from New Zealand. I've only been here for coming up to 4 years from Australia. But there's something that really draws me to the energy of the rocks. And I know that there's so much more there, particularly along the coastline. So your words really resonate deeply with me, especially in terms of acknowledging them and talking to them. So thank you.
Yeah, I've held back a lot from my travels, but I just started re-gifting Mother Earth with rocks and shells.
So when you say re-gifting, how?
Bringing them back to Mother Earth, returning them to Mother Earth.
Okay.
I only have a few certain ones. One looks like a dinosaur egg that I found in New Zealand. Imagine that.
I think it's very important to re-gift too, isn't it? Because in the gifting, you can get a gift back from spirit. Was there something else you wanted to say, Melanie? Okay.
No, but thank you so much for your time, Kathlene. Appreciate it.
What is your favorite rock?
I don't have a favorite rock. I'm just fascinated by them all. So I sort of really don't have an attachment as such at this stage.
Thank you. Talina, did you have a question?
Not specifically. I've only just really heard about dragons and that we each have one. So I haven't really connected with that.
Do you get dragonflies over there?
We do.
Yes.
In the rivers, yeah.
That's what I'm seeing around you, dragonflies.
Ah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, yes, I have. So I've normally been swimming in the ocean this summer, but we've sighted a shark, and so I've been a bit reluctant. But we do have a nice river, and I haven't been down there, so maybe that's what I'll do.
So, what has caught your attention this evening?
Yeah, when you said, yeah, it's not good for my neck, I stopped doing the floor and did start taking notes. So I have quite a few notes now. I just find it fascinating the way the conversation weaves in and out of possibilities.
That's a good way to put it. I hear that pitch again, that hum coming in, almost like a distant, deep drum. Your ancestors. Yeah, you're still releasing quite a bit. So I wrote your name down so that I can check on you later.
Yep.
And I'll know if you've been scraping that floor again.
I might give it a rest.
Yeah, when I was doing that, it was like, it's just not happy. I
No.
didn't say it's good for you, it just wasn't happy.
No, it's
Yeah.
actually, I've had incredible pain for 6 months, and Boxing Day, I'm out of pain and it's gone. I've had so many treatments trying to sort it out.
Mhm. Boxing Day was on a Sunday, wasn't it, or a Monday over there?
Tuesday.
Last Tuesday?
No, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas Day.
Oh, okay, because I heard it mentioned somewhere else and it kind of threw me off. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I am taking a huge risk actually by even using my arms to do something like scraping.
We always have to test it out. That's what I
Yeah.
tell my clients all the time. You're going to go paint the interior of your house after I just worked on you. Really? I'll see you next week.
I have a lot of sanding to do before I paint, yes.
Does anyone else have any final question for Kathlene before we close?
Do you do sessions, Kathlene? Can I have some?
I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe this is a good time, Kathlene, to tell everyone where they can find you, or if they want to book a session.
Email. It will be all small letters. So it's KATHLENECASEY at iCloud.com.
And what sessions do you provide, Kathlene?
The long distance healing. Anything is possible. Miracles do happen. And let's put your rib back in on that right side while I have you with me. It's on the back. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We can do that. You're still getting sorted out. So that's good. You have a nice team working with you. I just ask. And the way that you ask is, if it is permissible for a long distance healing to be sent to an individual, you're going to get a yes or a no. And you don't force yourself. You just wait. Ask in another hour. Because they're in discussion. Because remember, we have our own book, our own chapters. Now all of us right here are in the same chapter because we're working on something for the future and for the present moment. If you try to force something, or if you're the gift of prophecy, able to see the future and try to force it for that, it's not time, you create karma with that person. And you got in the way and they missed a vital step. So it's always important to be patient and wait. Could be 3 days, it could be a week, and then all of a sudden one day, yes, they can receive their long distance healing. Because we don't know what it is that they need. We have to trust and just let it go. If you would like to receive, is Sonia still with us? She with us?
Yes,
okay.
She is.
If you would like to receive your complete healing that comes from source, all you have to do is ask. And you tilt your head back just a smidge, close your eyes, and ask for your complete healing and it's going to be pure gold in color. And that will be administered to you. This typically shows up after you've worked on releasing karma. Any past life stuff whatsoever. It's time to ask for our complete healing, and it will be given.
That is beautiful, Kathlene. I want to thank you so much for coming on once again with this amazing cosmic cuppa. We've gone down a lot of rabbit holes and reached a lot of stars. We've gone out there. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Doesn't feel like you took me down any rabbit holes. I did pretty good.
I think you took us down a few, Kathlene.
Well,
So-
it was a lot for me to say who I am.
We
That was a lot.
appreciate that. We really appreciate all that you are and all that you do. And you're in my heart always, you know that. So thank you so much. So I would like to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. I have some amazing guests on A Cosmic Cuppa. We work on our platform, as you know, 5D and beyond. Peace on earth. It starts with you. It starts with me. So until next time, good night, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you
Have
so
fun.
much, everyone.